Hey guys, this is the story of how I became the cheeseball chick and started bringing joy to the world, one cheeseball at a time. So pull up a chair and enjoy the story. All right guys, this is gonna be fun. So listen into the whole story so you don't miss anything. And if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please do so you don't miss out on any future videos. All right, you guys, so this is my 165th container. That is right. My cheeseballs and I have been to 34 states and 7 countries and counting. And my cheeseballs and I have been motorcycling, we've been jet skiing, we've been downhill skiing, we've been zip lining, horseback riding, and I actually attempted, when it was my 100th container to celebrate, I attempted to go skydiving with my cheeseballs. I thought maybe they'd let me wear them on the front, of course with the parachute on the back, and they said, oh no, that will throw off your aerodynamics and you will die. But the guide said, if you really want to bring cheeseballs with you, just grab a little Ziploc baggie and put some cheeseballs in and hold them while you fall through the sky. And he said, but you will not have them at the end. I guarantee it. You are going to be so scared they are going to drop and go off into the atmosphere. You guys, my cheeseball baggie and I made it to the ground. I did it. It was incredible. It was awesome. So yes, technically we've kind of been skydiving together. Okay, you guys, get this. So when I had our daughter, I wore the cheeseballs to the hospital and I delivered them to doctors and nurses right before they delivered my little cheeseball chicklet. I got to be on Twin Cities Live when they featured me on April 17th, National Cheeseball Day. You guys, it is a national holiday, so mark your calendars, okay? I also got to be on Sacramento Live in California, and I was on the TV show Wipeout, okay? That's a whole nother story for another day. It was fun, but it was so painful, you guys. My cheeseballs and I have been to Twins games, we've been to the Minnesota State Fair, we've been to weddings, and we've been to actually a fire when a house was burning down. I was bringing necessary refreshments and nourishment to the hardworking firefighters that day. And as a speaker, I have worn them on hundreds of stages across the country as I've spoken at camps and churches and conferences, and I have dispensed cheeseballs to old and young and anyone in between, and it has been a super fun experience to meet people while handing out cheeseballs. Okay, so how did this start? I am so glad you asked. So it was 2008 and I was speaking at a youth conference in Virginia. Actually, I was giving my most requested message, and that was, keep your pants on. That's right, that's a whole nother story, but that's the message I was given. And while at this conference, I was given a container of cheese balls. Okay, there was no backpack or dispenser at the time, just a big random container of cheese balls. And I had to bring them back to Minnesota where I lived. So I had to go from Virginia to Chicago O'Hare Airport back to the Minneapolis airport. And they wouldn't fit in my luggage, and so I had to carry them through the airport. They were tucked under my arm. I was wheeling my luggage. I was minding my own business, and everybody was staring at me, and then they were laughing, and I was kind of like embarrassed. I was like, lie down, and my toilet paper behind me was going on. And then I just realized they're laughing because there's this random girl with this giant container of cheese balls. Then I get to the security checkpoint. We have to put everything you own in the bin, and it goes through the X-ray machine. So I put my flip-flops and my laptop and my bag, and then I put the cheese balls in a bin by themselves. They go down the conveyor belt, they get stopped in the machine, they come out the other side, and like 8 security guards surround my cheese balls. And I'm like, oh, this was fun while it lasted, but they're not gonna let me take them on the plane. Guys, they didn't confiscate them. They just were laughing and smiling and wanted to know I had cheese balls. Then I get to the plane and I am sitting in my seat, holding my big container of cheese balls, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, over the intercom, the flight attendant says, for the entire airplane to hear, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are hungry, there's a cheese ball lady with snacks in aisle 9D. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just got announced on the plane. You guys, he announced me not once, not twice, but 3 times throughout the flight. Now everybody is talking to me because I have cheese balls, and it was actually pretty cool because people would ask why I had cheese balls, and it would lead to significant conversations, and I was spreading tons of joy without even trying. And then when I'm in the Chicago O'Hare Airport, people are like yelling at me across the corridor, like, hey, cheese ball lady, cheese ball chick, you were on my flight. And I'm like, oh, hi, I don't recognize you, but I guess they knew I was the one with cheese balls. So then I get home from my flight and I told my friends and family that like the cheese balls brought the world together and it made people smile. And so one of my friends who knows me pretty well said, Molly, you should carry cheese balls around and spread joy. So just for fun, never knowing the future and what it would hold with cheese balls, I just made a duct tape backpack and I wore it to the mall. And it was super fun and people totally approached me. When you wear snacks on your back, just wait, people will flock to you, okay? But the thing is that people would come and talk to me and they ask why I have cheese balls and I say, oh, just to spread joy, but no one wanted to stick their hand in the container. Why, you guys? Because of germs. Exactly, big bad germs. They don't know how many hands have been in there before them, and this was before the pandemic. Can you imagine? Now people are a little more leery about taking cheese balls from strangers. So that's when I decided, you guys, that I needed to invent a sanitary dispensing system where the lid stays sealed. Okay, this is the original plastic from the cheese ball company, and where I can make a sanitary dispensing system and people can eat cheese balls germ-free. Every once in a while you have to, oh, that was a good one. That was like 3. So anyways, okay, so my brother Andy and I, he also loves to have fun and is pretty creative. We went to Home Depot and we are in the PVC pipe section, the aisle, and we were like scratching our heads, not because we had lice, but because we were like wondering, like, what are we gonna do? Like, we knew that we had to invent something, and then lo and behold, Home Depot Jim says, how can I help you? And little did Home Depot Jim know that we would become friends, that I'd invite him to my future wedding, we'd have him over to our house for dinner, and that he would be featured in the cheese ball song, actually. So Home Depot Jim was awesome. So the 3 of us put our heads together, and that's when we came up with this system, you guys. And this has now been on so many, well, I said 165 different cheese ball containers over the last, I started in 2008, you guys. So let's do the quick math, 2008, 18, so that's 10, 11, 13 years. Is that right? Oh my goodness. Did I do my math right? Okay, you guys, but get this. Just a little over a month after I invented, with the help of Home Depot Jim and my brother Andy, the cheese ball dispenser, I had my first date with my husband. And guess what, you guys? I wore the cheese balls on my first date. Okay, seriously, I was like, oh my goodness, that is weird. Like, now I'm totally used to wearing them, but it only been a month. And I was like, oh, I don't know. But in the back of my mind, I just heard, you have to be yourself. And so it actually broke the ice when we met in the parking lot, because we drove separately and we met, and I offered him cheese balls. Like, that was the very first big thing we ever did in person, and they've been a part of our relationship ever since. In fact, Craig, well, here's a picture of us on our second date. He invited me the next day to go roller skating with him and his youth group, because Craig's a youth pastor. So I don't know if I was a free chaperone or if they were like vetting me for their youth pastor, but I passed the test. We continued dating, and Craig actually attempted to propose to me by using the cheese ball dispenser and actually having the ring come out of it. But I didn't wear my cheese balls the day he wanted to propose, so we had to go to plan B, which was washing my feet and asking if he could serve me like Jesus came to serve the church for the rest of our life. I'm like, score, yes baby, sign me up, I will marry you. But here's a little reenactment of the cheese ball proposal that he wanted to do. And then actually, you guys, I did wear them at our wedding. Okay, I did not wear them down the aisle, okay, because there are some boundaries, but I fed a couple people while I was wearing my wedding dress, and then we went roller skating for our reception, so I wore them while I was roller skating. That was super fun. I have fed them to Ronald McDonald, actually, and most recently, I got to feed my cheese balls to Daniel Gil, the 2020 American Ninja Warrior champion, you guys. Like, he's the guy who won it all. And I got to not only give him cheese balls, I got to do pull-ups with him. Now, I am sure that I would have won the pull-up contest if I hadn't been weighed down by the cheese balls. So it was not fair, but I'm gonna be a good loser, okay? And why do I do it? I do it to spread joy. That's right. joy. And maybe you're saying, well, how on earth do you have any joy to spread? Because didn't you just live through 2020 like the rest of us? Yes, guys. In fact, for reasons even other than the pandemic, my 2020 was the hardest year of my life. But what I want you to know is that the joy that I have to give is not from my own source. Like if it was dependent on circumstances or just me, like I wouldn't have anything to give. But I have joy from an eternal, I meant to say internal, but I said eternal, but I think that makes sense. I have joy from an internal source that's actually eternal. That my joy will live and last forever because my joy comes from, drumroll please, my joy comes from Jesus. Yes, I said Jesus, not cheeses. Jesus, not cheeses. Although I do love some good Colby and Swiss, and ooh, I love Munster. Munster is yummy. But seriously, because I have accepted Jesus as my Savior, I have access to all that He is, which is love and joy and hope and peace. That will be accessible to you because actually it says that when you become a Christian, when you accept Christ, that Jesus comes in and lives in you. And you have access to all that He is. So in the midst of the depression, in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of the loss and the challenges, which I've been through all of those things, you guys, you can have a steady source of joy and hope and peace when you accept Jesus as your Savior. So back up. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. And Jesus will be your Savior. In Jeremiah 29:13, it says that when we seek Him, when we search for Him with all our heart, we will find Him. I have total confidence that if you're curious and you're in a journey of discovering who Jesus is, I'm confident you're gonna find Him. And when you do, you will have joy that is overflowing no matter what you are going through in life. So guys, if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss out any fun videos. And just for the record, as I close my video, I want you all to know that my joy comes from Jesus. Oh, bummer. Let's try again.